Hey there, welcome back. All right, in this module, we're going to talk about one of the most difficult ways to see and understand: processing. Specifically, by the end of this module, you'll know exactly what processing is, what it costs your company, and some of the things that cause it, and finally, we'll discuss a few of the tools and techniques we can use to battle this pesky waste. Oh, and we'll visit with Isaac again and see what he and his friends have come up with as a solution to some of the processing waste he's been dealing with over at RAM Technologies. So let's get started by learning exactly what this waste of processing is. Well, formally defined, the waste of processing, sometimes called overprocessing, occurs when something's designed in such a way that uses more resources, such as space, energy, or people, than is truly required. Sort of like using a sledgehammer to smash a peanut. Now, as we've mentioned in the overview module, the waste of processing is definitely the hardest to understand and learn to see, since the most common root causes are a lack of understanding of customer needs. Now, a few examples of processing waste are machines that are slower or faster than needed, equipment that uses more energy than needed, drilling a hole when simply punching it, which it would be much faster, would suffice, completing redundant work such as copying information, doing things just because they've always been done, and cleaning things multiple times. Or, as we've already seen, Isaac is carefully measuring each and every piece of foam, even though they've already been cut to size. This meticulous attention to detail, while admirable, is most definitely an example of processing waste. Okay, so that's what the waste of processing is. Now, let's talk about what it costs us. Well, the cost of processing waste can be measured by observing the direct running costs such as labor, energy, space, materials, and equipment used to perform the unnecessary process. Basically, the cost of processing boils down to the simple fact that our people and machines are not adding value as efficiently as they can. So, by eliminating all forms of processing, things like productivity will most definitely increase. Now then, in order to be able to remove this waste from our lives, we must have a good idea of what causes it. So, let's talk about some of the causes for processing waste. Well, the first cause is unclear customer requirements. Oftentimes, we don't truly understand what our customers want from us, and as a result, we find ourselves doing things to the product our customer doesn't really care about. Next, overly complex designs often lead to the waste of processing waste, since, again, products may be far more complex than our customers care about, which means we'll be wasting a tremendous amount of time on things we're not getting paid for. And finally, a lack of communication, both internally and externally, often leads to the waste of processing, since expectations as far as what's required and what isn't required often go unknown to the people producing the product or service. All right. Well, now that we have a better understanding of some of the causes of processing, let's wrap this module up with a discussion of some of the tools and techniques we can employ in order to prevent or eliminate this waste once and for all. Well, the first thing we can do is simply stop. In other words, once we recognize the waste of processing, we should stop doing it. While this might not sound like earth-shattering advice, this one technique could literally save you and your company a lot of time and money. Next, completing a workflow analysis or detailed process map in order to identify and remove unneeded steps is another powerful technique used by many companies to eliminate processing waste. And this analysis doesn't have to be done with fancy electronic software. All you need is a piece of paper, a pencil, and someone familiar with the process in question. Now, as we've mentioned many times, understanding what our customers want and expect from us is extremely important. So, finding a way to capture the voice of customer is extremely important. Now, there are a variety of ways to go about this. Some companies use surveys, while others, who have a good working relationship with their clients, simply ask their customers what they truly value and expect from their product or service. And finally, there are some more advanced lean tools and concepts, such as 3P, or the product preparation process, and value engineering, that can also be used to battle this waste. Now then, let's go back over to RAM Technologies to see what our good friend Isaac has been up to. Now, if you remember, Isaac was measuring each and every piece of foam in a meticulous manner, even though this wasn't needed. So in order to remedy this, Isaac has put the tape measure away and is now grabbing a stack of foam and quickly verifying there isn't a major problem with the size of the foam. Now the time Isaac is now saving with this new process is staggering, meaning he's now free to work on other value-added activities his customers actually care about. And that wraps up this module on processing. In our next module, we're going to move on to one of my personal pet peeve wastes, waiting. So, we'll speak to you soon.